This is Toad's Midway Madness. In the 6 boards in Mario Party 4, this one is easily the most beginner-friendly with a nice theme around, you guessed it, an amusement park. Now, seeing as GameCube titles are being brought back to the Switch 2 in the most anti-consumer way possible, don't get me started, I'm not really going to talk about that part of it. Instead, I'm going to focus on the game, specifically this board and the details the board is themed around. I genuinely never asked myself this question in real life until recently, and it did get me kind of curious about the game again, which inspired this video, so without further ado, let's see how many rides there are in Toad's Midway Madness. So here's the entire board. This is an overhead shot to get the entire park in one frame, and seeing as the start space usually starts the game, I'll naturally start counting the rides from there. First up, we have the Teacup Ride. Everyone has seen the ride at an amusement park at some point. It's a staple to theme parks all over the world and is a real pain in the ass to get past on this board. No joke, unless you all land perfectly on happening spaces, at least one player is going to have to go around this beginning section of the board twice, before they will be able to move on. Zoomzite goes more in depth with this, so check his video out if you want to learn more about that. Zoomzite goes more into depth with this on identifying luck Mario Party 4, so check his video out if you want to learn more about that. What we're learning in this video is how many rides there are on this board, and this ride definitely checks that box. The next ride we're going to come across, you can come across regardless if you go left or right after the teacups, and it's easily the biggest ride on the entire board. If you go to the left after the item shop, a Toad will ask you if you want to take a ride, and if you do, you'll take a ride across the board and may end up pushing players off the main roller coaster path if you happen to come across them. Now this is what we like to see in videos like this. Very easy to spot, very identifiable ride. Moving past the lottery after the roller coaster, to the right we have another teacup, and I do consider it another ride because it works individually and separately compared to the previous teacup, so it does count. Before that teacup though, if you go up through the mini pipe, you'll come across another ride that's not only available while you are small or mini as the game says. It's a pretty easy space rocket game where you have to follow the lines and try to place your space rocket on the best path to get as many coins as possible. Simple mini game that's also a ride. If you go further past the boo and past the other entrance to the roller coaster, you'll come across another mini game, this time of a merry-go-round. You have to stop at the right spot to get the items you want, another staple to amusement park rides, and definitely going on the list too. And that's it for all of the rides on the board itself. Surprisingly, there aren't that many rides you can interact with on the board, and it is a little bit odd not to see that many interactive rides, but it was 2002, this is their first Mario Party on the GameCube. The conveyor belt board spaces should imply they didn't fully have this down yet, so I'll give them some leeway because that's what you have to do for technical limitations of the time. It's like when one of my friends who watched Star Wars for the first time was watching it with me and asked why Palpatine only threw a few Senate pods towards Yoda instead of throwing them all at once, and I gave him 2 answers. The answer in story is Palpatine wasn't really trying to kill Yoda, just toying with Yoda, and the real-world answer is Lucas probably would have melted many computers trying to process that much in 2005. Yes, CGI very much advanced in the 2000s, but not that much by 2005, sorry. More evidence of technical limitations in Revenge of the Sith for the time was in the deleted scenes where, I'm not gonna answer that. Both answers fill both ends of curiosity, I feel, and I need to move on because this video is about Mario Party. There are literally no rides in the square center of the board due to the roller coaster taking up a good portion of the board itself, and that's okay. I feel any other ride would have gotten in the way right here, so we're going to redirect our attention to the rides in the background. Right under the start space, we have tracks to what looks like a train station. You'll notice that all the train is carrying is a bunch of boxes on the back of it. There's no indication it's meant for passengers, and there does seem to be what looks like a train station to the left of the board. It's not connected to any other part of the amusement park, so I'm just going to sum this up as a video's discretion and say it's not a ride. It's probably meant to carry supplies or something in those boxes around the park because I'm fairly confident they're not putting people in those. Shortly to the left, we have another staple of amusement parks, the swinging pirate ship. It's got simplistic design that works for a background aesthetic. At first, I thought maybe the blue underneath it is water, but after looking at a ride we'll get to later, I've determined it's something on the ground meant to look like water. Regardless though, this does count as a ride. After the swinging pirate ship, we go to the left and forward a bit to come across what looks like another space ride under the second set of teacups. You can definitely point out the keyframes in the animation, but that's not the only thing in 2002 with noticeable keyframes. Looking at you, Attack of the Clones. Why have I mentioned the prequels twice now? But it does make up for it with some nice Daisy-themed flags on some flagpoles right beside it on the left. I wouldn't know what the specific term for this ride would be because most variations I've seen of this have their own custom names at real theme parks. I couldn't really find a name for it other than their own custom names online, so I'll just call it the Space Vortex ride. It fits or not, it doesn't matter because name or no name, it counts. Moving a bit to the right, we have easily the biggest staple ride to any amusement park or theme park in general, the Ferris wheel. Nice and on display right near the beginning of the board as it should be, lots of nice vivid colors on it like a Ferris wheel should have, with doors on the side to let people in and out, so there is some noticeable attention to detail with it, and you know what? It counts! And finally, we have the ride in the center of the board. Now, you may not notice this ride when first playing this board, and I actually didn't get a full look at it until making this video, and this is a very peculiar ride. It's the only one to overlap another ride, and for some reason, since it's put under a part of the conveyor that makes it harder to notice. It's not too hard to notice because all of the crazy rainbow aesthetics on it, but it is a little weird they would put a ride that looks like this here and put it not only underneath the main roller coaster, but in the center of the board on top of it. So it definitely makes the ride a lot less noticeable. It is a little odd that they would put it here, but this is the ride I was talking about earlier when I came. It is a little odd that they put it here, but this is the ride I was talking about earlier when it came to the swinging pirate ship's water texture. If you look at the bottom of the ride, you'll see what clearly is supposed to be water circulating like the ride is. I'm guessing this is meant to give off the impression that the ride is pushing water in a way and making it look like that, but this is how I was able to identify the swinging pirate ship did not actually have water underneath it. This is easily my favorite ride on the whole board because of these reasons alone, and if you actually look more at it, it looks to be sitting on what has been made to look like a warp pipe from Mario, and there's even a pink dotted Yoshi egg on top to indicate that this is a Yoshi themed ride. The only thing I'm curious about this though is, how is this ride Yoshi themed? Like, I'm not going to ask if there's Yoshi eggs in that because that's a very, very dumb question, and that is a very bad mental image I probably accidentally put in your head. Who's calling me? Like, I'm not going to ask if there's Yoshi eggs in that ride because that's a very dumb question, and that is a very bad mental image I probably accidentally put in your head just now. Make sure those Yoshi eggs are nice and hard-boiled, Toad. And there you have it. That is every ride in Toad's Midway Madness. We have 9 rides, a big Toad balloon that looks like he's from Mario Kart 7, and the train station that I'm guessing takes supplies around the park. I'm a little surprised that there were only 9 rides because that isn't very much for a modern-day amusement park, but with the 9 that they did have, they did a really good job implementing 5 of them onto the board, while making sure at least 3 or 4 of the other looked very visually noticeable, with the one less noticeable standing out as much as it can, and that is appreciated. What isn't appreciated, though, is how much Nintendo's taking advantage of this game and many other games from its time. Ooh, see what I did there? Every other person that has asked me about it, I basically summed it up like I'll sum it up in this video by saying I was so frustrated with the Switch 2 reveal, I ragebait bought a MetaQuest 3, no joke, and I don't regret it for a second. I could not suggest the MetaQuest 3 to enough people. It is everything you need in a video game console and more. So with that little Switch 2 critique out of the way, that's all of the rides in Toad's Midway Madness. If you liked the video, do the niche YouTuber outro junk and... Oh, I'm not supposed to actually read that.